Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 12th episode of the most entertaining podcast. I'm your host today, I'm Rafa, and with me is the same crew from last week. I have Anu and Lagesh. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic, my bro. How are you?
Yo, what's good? I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Good, good, good. Hope you guys have been able to, rest up and break up for a new week ahead. Good, good, good. Last week we talked about like the 7 to 12th in the Premier League. I'm sure you guys enjoyed that one. So today we're speaking on a different topic, but first we'll finish up the list. We're going to do 13 to 20th for the Premier League list, and then we're going to be speaking on the cup competitions and the Champions League and the Europa League and Conference League winners. So I hope you enjoyed today's one. So let's get into it. So for 13th position, we're going to start from 13th down towards the 20th. We're going to be picking, each one of us are going to have like a pick, and then we'll see how it goes. So for 13th position, Toby, what's your pick?
Hey, man. All right. So interesting. I was thinking it was pretty hard for me to put my mid-table team. Obviously, we're continuing from last week, and I had to take a look at the other teams. These are the teams that are basically trying to challenge to go for a top 10, maybe trying to even like squeeze into Europe, but obviously they're falling short. Maybe because of the playing staff, or maybe something with the manager. So these will probably be a lot of teams that okay, they had some hope, but because of whatever issues that they will face as the season continues they just couldn't clutch it and achieve their goals. I don't think anyone comes to the season unless you're a team coming from the championship trying to finish in the 13th to 16th places. Most teams that finish there want to climb up the league, because when you're around that space, you're not too far from relegation. My pick for 13th is going to be Everton. The reason why I went for Everton is I think this would be a good finish for them. Considering the fact that they've had issues in the past couple of years, they flirted with relegation. They've had problems with ownership. They've been able to switch ownership now. David Moyes is back at the helm. The team is starting to have some stability, or is looking like it will have some stability. They did bring in Jack Grealish. That's supposed to be their marquee signing for the summer. I don't know how I feel about that signing, but I think Everton will have enough not to be worried about relegation, but they're not going to, cause too many, they're not going to really shake up the league. They'll just be a steady team, finish somewhere 13th, a lot of draws, not that many wins, a few losses here and there, but I think 13th is good for Everton.
Yeah, 13. 13 for Everton is Toby's pick. Yeah, it's a very good pick because as we speak, Everton are beating Brighton now. And you could say like they don't look like a team that's leaving the Premier League anytime soon. So just like he said they go marquee signing Grealish, and I think they're here to stay. I think they're building up from last season, and we all the so I think they've been very very busy this summer as well in the transfer market. They got a lot of players in. They got Grealish. They got even what's his name, Drewsby Hall. They got like a couple of guys, and with the new stadium and everything, just like he's saying like they're here to stay. They're not leaving anytime soon. So 13 to still be speak. Anu, what you say for 13?
Sure. This spot will go to Palace, and it's because they will be losing their best players this summer, playing 3 games a week, of course, and they've spent about £3 million this summer. So I think, yeah, they might have a bit of a drop off.
Okay. Anu speak as Palace. Funny enough, he has the same pick as me as well. For 13th, I'm going with Palace as well. I think Palace lost their best player this season. Last season as well, they lost their best player. They lost Ulisse, and they did well. Will I say last season they won their first trophy ever in their history, and this before the season started, they won the Community Shield as well. Now they lost their best player again from last season, that is Eze. I feel this season they will have a slight drop off from last season because of that. But I still feel Palace are a surprise package this season. We're going to talk about that later in the cup competitions. But yeah, just like Anu has his pick for Palace, my pick as well for 13th is Palace as well for 13th position. Oliver Glasner, their coach, is a very fantastic manager. I've seen him. He's won trophies at the sides he's played, at the sides he's managed. He was at Frankfurt. He won their first Europa League title. Now at Palace, he won their first ever FA Cup. And now Palace are in the Conference League. We'll see how it goes this season. And also this season, I also think that the what's the name? The captain, Gehi, if they keep hold of him this season, yeah, they have what it takes to still compete. Palace are a good side, and what's the other guy? Adam Watson, the centre midfield, is a World Cup year, and I feel Watson has a lot to prove if he wants to be on the plane to what's the name? He wants to be on the plane with the English team for the World Cup. So yeah, Palace have a lot of boys that have what it takes to put in a fight this season in the Premier League. So Palace for me, Palace for Anu, and for Toby, Everton for 13th place. So now we're moving down to the 14th place in the Premier League. So we go again. Toby, what's your pick?
Yeah, just before I talk about number 14, I had Palace as 11th place from last season for the previous episode, and I think the
Yeah,
reason why I had them a few places above where you guys have is because Oliver Glasner has really surprised me in his time in English football. So I think the only thing that made me feel like okay, Palace of course they're gonna have a drop off with all the sell off, and if Gay leaves as well, it's gonna be even worse. I think they're gonna try and do some emergency signings at the end of the window to at least make sure the squad is good because they know they have to be in Europe. This is their first time in Europe, so at least they should try and prepare and give themselves a good chance to compete. I think Glasgow is going to be the reason why they have any success this year. For
yeah,
number 14, I am going with Fulham. The reason why I picked Fulham, although Fulham, they have a consistent side, and I think a few of us, not me though, a few of us put them up, I think in the 7th to 12th place rankings. I think Anu had them up there, and it made sense. They're a consistent team. They've been together for a long time. So that consistency, understanding within the group, understanding the manager's game plan, they should be a lot stronger as a side for it. The only problem for me is I feel like Fulham, I've always they gave me a lackluster summer. I think that's just how I'm going to describe it. I'm not, super surprised by them. I think other teams in the league, in and around them, around their position, have invested more than they have. And although investment can lead to chaos because you have to breed in these new players into your style, and that might make it difficult for you to have good results, I think those guys would have a better chance in comparison to Fulham. At the end of the day, I could be very wrong. I think they have a great coach in Marco Silva. They have a lot of really quality players in different positions, in the left back, in the midfield. But I'm going to go Fulham for 14th.
yeah. Fulham is a nice beat for 14. Yeah, just like he said, I think he said Fulham have not been a lot active in the transfer market like the other teams. But yeah, this season Fulham building up from last season. It's gonna be like a bit harder this season, and we'll see how it goes. For you, Anu, for 14, what's your pick?
Sure. For this spot, I'm gonna go with Brentford for this spot. Just because I know they switched to a back four on Saturday and they managed to get a win, but they still need significantly more in their midfield as well as in like the striker spot as well. I know that Wissam might leave, right? So if he were to leave, then they need like significantly more. Frankly speaking, I feel like they need more even if he were to stay. So per se, they managed to not get like the reinforcements that they need, then yes, the most likely spot for them will be 14th. But per se, they do manage to bring in those people, then yes, I'd say they will most likely finish slightly higher, I guess. But the main problem for Bournemouth is I guess people have a lot of doubts with like their coach, right? Even though he actually has been a coach for like the last 9 years actually, and he coached in the championship, coach for the national team as well in the Republic of Ireland as well as in the Premier League as well. So I think people need to see that frankly he actually has a lot more experience than the average fan would know. So yeah, my spot or pick for 14th rather will be Brentford.
Brentford. Yeah. So Anu has Brentford in 14th position. That's a very good one. You can see Brentford lost everyone from last season. They lost their best player, they lost their coach, and this season he still feels they're still going to be in the Premier League. So that's a good one for him. And for me, 14th, I'm going with Bournemouth for 14th. Why I picked Bournemouth for 14th is because last season, towards the end of the season, I was thinking that everyone saw everything Bournemouth put like mid-season. Mid-season, Bournemouth were like the most informed team in the Premier League. They beat everyone. They could beat anyone home or away. Then towards the end of the season, everything just happened and they just faltered. And I think, but they still did well last season on their standards. That's what I'll say. On a Bournemouth standard, they did well. But the summer came and they lost their whole defense. Basically, they lost what's his name, Kirkesh, they lost Zabani, they lost Hoyson, and they also lost Kepa. When a team does, or will I say, a team puts in a fight like that in the Premier League, and in the summer you get stripped off like that, you say, "Wow, what are we doing? Who are we doing this for?" But yeah, Bournemouth still survived this season. They're going as well now, and I saw them on the first day of the Premier League, and I saw the fight they put in against Liverpool. I said, "Wow, these guys, these guys are here to stay. They're not leaving." And I'll say, yeah, for me, I picked them as 14th because their season is going to have a lot of ups and downs. They're going to lose a lot of games. I wouldn't say that it's going to be rosy or it's going to be smooth, but yeah, I think they have what it takes to stay in the Premier League and get like a top 15 finish. So at least for me, I put Bournemouth 14th. With their what's the name, Semenyo as well. He with everything that happened, he's putting in goals. So uh, I think this is a year for me. Bournemouth 14th, and as well, yeah, for Anu 14, Brentford, and Lagesh and Toby. He's for him is Fulham. So now we moved on to 15th. So Toby, who you have in 15th? Your pick.
All right. So my 15th, and I think this might be a surprise to some people, but I wanted to shake it up. I'm looking for an exciting Premier League season. So I went for Sunderland as my 15th pick for the season. The reason why I went with Sunderland, I think the number one thing from me, at least no, the two things from me with them is one, they're showing serious intention in the transfer market and they're investing loads and loads of money. I like the fact that, they are coming up into the Premier League and they want to give it a good try. They don't want to just have a participation trophy, do the one season, get those payments, and then go back to the championship and do the model of like, okay, bounce in between the leagues a few times and then come back into the Premier League. They want to go straight into it and be able to maintain themselves as a Premier League side. They've been able to make a lot of signings. I think the number one signing that I definitely like from them was Granit Xhaka. I like that a lot. Granit Xhaka has already been, in the Premier League before at Arsenal. He's been announced as the new captain of Sunderland. He did have a fantastic season or two seasons at Bayer Leverkusen, went invincible in the league, in the Bundesliga. So he's coming with a lot of experience, a lot of mentality, a lot of know-how to be able to galvanize these sides, to be able to turn those 1-1, 0-0 performances from relegation teams into the 1-0 here and there, and to be able to, prevent themselves from losing more matches, a lot of draws, a couple wins here and there. I think the energy from them is pretty good. I like what I'm seeing from their manager. I like what I'm seeing from their ownership. And all around, I think the Sunderland story is very, very positive. They're classic heritage Barclays team, and it's good to have them back. Good to be able to go play away at the Stadium of Lights. These are the things that a lot of us grew up on. So it's nice to have them back in the Premier League. Sunderland for me is number 15.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Sunderland for 15th. Toby, I think now me and him now have agreement because from last week I put them as high as 12th, and we could just say that for both of us, we're saying Sunderland are here to stay in the Premier League. They're not leaving. So we've seen that in the last two seasons, the teams that got promoted, you always are the same teams to get relegated. We've seen that happen time and time over again. But this season, we've seen Sunderland and Toby saying like they're not going anywhere. Me as well. I said they're not going anywhere. They're here to stay, and they're probably going to be a surprise package this season. 15th is high, 12th is high for a side that just got promoted in the Premier League. But that's what the Premier League has in store this season. Anu, who's your shout for 15?
Right. So for this spot, I am going with the Toffees actually. So they look pretty bad versus Leeds last week. I know right now they are winning right now. So I think they need a lot more in they're in like their like striker positions as well as in their forward positions, but also I think they need a lot more fullbacks too. They really have no right backs apart from James Coleman, and they literally have no left back like at all, like period. So they need to do significantly more in the window this week. I think they'll be fine from the Premier League perspective, but I really don't see like the hype because I saw from a lot of the people's picks that a lot of people had them picked for like the top 12, but just from like the squad quality and all that, I really can't see that. I know they have a very good manager, but still, they'll probably need significantly more than that to be able to be in the mid-table.
Okay, that's a good one. He says for him, 15th is Everton. He's saying like he's talking about the fact that they don't have a good left back and that they probably not gonna. Well, I say with everything that's happening with them, he's saying like this season that he's seen them staying in the Premier League despite everything that's happened and with all the transfers they've made. But Everton Everton are not getting relegated for Anu. So that's a good one because we know that in the last three, or let's say even before towards the end of last season, we always know Everton have always been in that relegation battle at least the last couple of seasons. But now 15th is actually a good place. Normally it's from 16th you say, oh yeah, it gets very um let's say dicey. So for him, 15th is Everton. Then for me, with my final pick for 15th, I will go with Brentford. Why I put Brentford as 15th position is because Brentford lost their coach. Brentford lost their best player. Uh, when that happens in the Premier League, I say it's if to any side or a side that's competing, like a side like Brentford. Brentford going to the Premier League like almost 10 years ago, and they have stayed in the Premier League. They haven't gone, they haven't been relegated. They've been here for time, all down to their manager. And all of a sudden, he decides to leave. What's the name? Spurs decide to poach him, and they lose their best player, Bermo. The other season before, they lost, what's his name? Was the other guy that went to
Tony?
Saudi. Yeah, they lost. He went to Saudi, and now this season, the player that's meant to help them this season, that is what's his name, Wisa. They are because he used to be Wisa and Boemo. He's trying to force a move to what's his name, Newcastle. So you wonder, like, wow, the future is really looking bright for Brentford. But yeah, the future is not really looking that bright. But the future is not looking bleak, per se, for me. For my opinion for Brentford, I feel they will finish 15th. I feel they won't get relegated this season. Brentford are a good side. I always put, to me, I always say the London clubs are Premier League sides, Premier League level. All the London clubs, yeah, regardless, Millwall and QPR are not in the Premier League, but yeah, the London clubs are Premier League level sides. Why? Because those clubs all have a lot of money to spend. So yeah, Brentford will remain in the Premier League for my my choice, and yeah, they'll probably finish 15th for me. So now we're moving down to 16th. 16th now. 16th now is where will I say it gets very dicey. 16th is where you say, okay, this is where you're in relegation battle. Because normally I always feel 19, 20 usually get relegated, obviously. Then you see 16, 17, 18 is where it keeps flip flopping, like it keeps changing every time. So yeah, so now we're getting to where it's almost very bad. So for 16th position, we're going to start with Toby. So Toby, who's your pick for 16?
So the way I feel about the season and the way it's gonna progress, I feel 15 up until like 19 are gonna be all fighting for those relegation spots. I think we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have really one bad team that's gonna just be like, dang, they're gonna be out with like 2 months to go, or like a month to go. And then like from number 15, where I have Sunderland up until 18, 19, are gonna be fluctuating because they're all around the same level in my eyes. Number
Yeah.
16 is actually gonna be another side that came up from the championship. I know, crazy. This is the one I'm probably not too confident about. I'm only saying this because I want to see more teams from the championship be able to stabilize in the Premier League. I'm seeing a lot of Premier League sides over the years kind of regress slightly a little bit more and more. So I think that gap is starting to close. And the reason why I'm going to pick Burnley for number 16 is because of their defensive record coming from the Championship. They had an extremely amazing year in the Championship last year. Scott Parker, their coach, has been able to improve as a manager, and I think with them they have a very good fit right now. He was known for having a very, very strong defensive team. I don't know the exact stats, but when you look it up, you'll be very amazed by how well they did in the Championship last year defensively. Obviously, it's a new level in the Premier League, but I think they don't need to be as good as they were to be able to stay in the Premier League. They just need to be able to, get a lot more clean sheets, a lot more draws, and also win against their rivals. I was very happy for them because they did lose on the first day to Tottenham Hotspur, and that can happen to any Championship side going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on the first day of the week, or the first day of the league rather. It's going to be hard. You don't expect to win. They lost 3-0. I think it was an admirable result. Most people would have backed for that kind of result. But their next game was against, relegation candidate Sunderland as well, because they also come from the Championship, and Burnley won that game. And that was what gave me confidence that, okay, they're up for the fight. They were at home, and they got 3 points at home against their rivals for those similar positions. And because of that, I was like, okay, they have something in them, and they're willing to go for it. So that spirit, that quality, that desire to want to stay in, I think they'll be able to make it happen. Because Burnley was in the league 2 years ago. I think prior when they had Vincent Company as their manager, they tried to play tiki taka, and obviously that didn't work out for them. Vincent got his move to Bayern. Burnley got Championship football, and I think they have to change the strategy. Of course, you want to score goals, but they're playing it a lot more simple. They're playing it the Barclays way. We don't need to do all this tippy tappy football. Play it long, good defense, get the ball in the box, get men in the box, try and get a goal, try and get a header, and that's going to get you points against a lot of Premier League teams. Because a lot of teams now are looking for that tiki taka football. They're preparing for that tiki taka football. They're not ready for the old school, over the top, get it to your big man and play around your big man to generate a shot. So I'm looking forward to the Championship side really going at a lot of teams in the Premier League. They're going to lose a lot of games. It's going to be tough against the best opposition. But I think a lot of mid level sides, low level sides, they can get some points. So Burnley for 16 for me.
Yeah, that's a very, very bold pick for 16th. Toby going with Burnley. That's the second promoted side he's put living in the Premier League. And you say, wow, are you a
I know.
madman?
Yeah.
And he's leaving them at 16. But to be fair, he spoke about their defensive record. And I'll say, like, is actually is admirable because even yesterday, the win, he said they won it with a clean sheet. They kept a clean sheet as well. And you can say like Burnley last season in the championship, they kept a lot of clean sheets last season in the chat. A lot of clean sheets. Like there was a period that they had only considered just 9 goals, and that's like nine. And I think we were like in January or February at that point. They had only considered just nine, and it was a crazy, crazy defense. And to him, like some people say, attack, well, I say attack wins you games, defense wins you titles. And yeah, Burnley, obviously, they're not winning any title. I'm just saying, but Burnley are back in the Premier League and they're coming in with a very, very strong defense. And to be saying, yes, with this defense, I think is good enough just to this thing keep them in the Premier League. And yeah, 16th position is it's a good finish. When I say it's a good finish, it's a bold, bold shout. But yeah, Toby's going with Burnley for 16th, and yeah, we'll see how it goes with the rest of our picks. So for 16th now, we're moving to Anu. Who's your pick for 16th?
Right. So for this spot, I am gonna go with the Black Cats, and I think it's because the level of the recruitment this summer has been fantastic. Given he actually just brought in Mukiele from PSG,
Yeah.
which is like a fantastic move for a club as like small as they are, I guess, because really he's more of like a player for like a top 16, really, really. So the fact that they managed to like have him is like huge, and also like the manager is like hugely underrated as well. I know he did fairly well in Ligue 1, but also I know that a lot of the squad has actually stayed the same since they were in League One, and I think that actually plays a huge part in things as well, just from like um from the perspective of like squad cohesion, I guess, right? So I think Sunderland could get a few pretty huge results, and in the 16th this season.
Okay. Yeah, 16 is a very, very good shout. It's very. I keep saying Coach has a very, very bold pick because now we can see now the three of us are in agreement that at least one of the promoted sides are not going back to the championship, and yeah, that's actually a very good one. Anu is saying Sunderland are 16th for him because, as you can see, like I think they've spent over 100 mil in the transfer market this season already. They've spent a lot of money this season already. That's even just to tell you how massive the Premier League is. But we'll talk about that later when we get down to the cup competitions. A team that just got promoted to the Premier League already spending 100, and some people will say that you're crazy to do that. The last side that got promoted to the Premier League that tried that actually stayed, and they've been there now this season. Last season they were pushing for Champions League, and that side is Nottingham Forest. I think Nottingham Forest got promoted 2-3 seasons ago, and I remember that summer they spent over 100. That summer, everyone was calling them mad. They changed the entire 11, and at the end of the day, the team paid off because Sunderland have been a Premier League side the last 2-3 seasons, and even last season they went as far as staying in the Champions League top four side for at least 60 to 70% of the season, or before everything just didn't go their way towards the end of the season. So now I think Sunderland have come with that same game plan. They've tried it this season, spending over 100, and Anu is saying it's good enough for them to stay in the Premier League. That's a very good pick for him. That's a very bold pick. So Sunderland for 16th for Anu, and then for me for 16th position, I'm going with Fulham this season. Why I went with Fulham, or why I'm going with Fulham, is because Fulham have had a very quiet transfer this thing. Will I say a transfer market this season? A lot of Premier League sides have gone to. Will I say yeah? What do you want to say? Go with Anu. Go for it.
So what you're saying pretty much is Fulham will finish lower than Burnley.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know what I'm saying. Yes. Basically, that's what it is. Yeah. No. Is he Burnley? That's what he said. We'll finish lower than Burnley. That's what he's saying. I haven't put Burnley. It's Toby that picked Burnley. I didn't pick Burnley. Yeah, it's Toby that picked Burnley. So I'm
I
going
had
with
Fulham higher than Burnley, luckily. Fulham was 14, Burnley was 16 for me. So I didn't go that crazy. So when you put it like that, it did sound kind of crazy. Burnley over Fulham did sound kind of crazy.
But it is crazy. Anyone you're speaking to, like, whoa, two teams coming to the Premier League, I would just putting them, you guys are not leaving. That's actually it's crazy. Anyways, just like we were saying, mine for me is Fulham. Fulham have had a very quiet transfer listing window. They didn't really bring anyone in, and I would say maybe they didn't really lose anyone because I think this summer it was all about them keeping Rodrigo Muniz, and I think right now he's not leaving. That's their their talismanic striker, Rodrigo Muniz. He's staying this season. There's not leaving, and I'll say this season Fulham are not going to be the way they were last season, where they were having free wins home or away. This season is actually going to be very tough and hard for them because right now the Premier League is going tougher. I keep saying the thing that the big six are back, and I'll keep saying that the big six normally the last 3 years will I say every big six side has been very, very, will I say, we've been on serious basically. All of them, all the big teams, they've been very on serious. They've been just one season you see Chelsea finish 12th, another season you see Tottenham finish 17th, Man U finish 16th. You see, like we've been seeing some very funny, funny table finishes in the last 3 years. But I think this season everyone is going to everyone's going to lock in and get their shit together and act together. So any side, will I say, that's been in the Premier League before that is not even ready to improve on last season, I promise you're going to get left behind. And that's what I think is going to happen with Fulham this season. It's going to be a long season, but I think they're going to do just enough to stay in the Premier League. So they're not going to get relegated for me. So my pick for 16th is Fulham. So now we're moving to 17th. So 17th, who's your pick, Toby?
I'm having such a dilemma because all the teams I have for 17 and 20, all of them could get relegated, in my opinion, with what I'm seeing from them. And it's very hard for me to separate this team because I'm having a tough time picking the one team that's going to stay safe from my, I don't know what to call them. You know how you have like Fantastic Four? What's a word you say for F that's like bad for the four? I don't know. Not my freaky four. My I don't know.
It's probably like
But
the horrific four.
my what?
The the horrific four.
My
No, it's
horrific four.
horrific for
Yeah.
yeah, horrific
Yeah, yeah,
for.
yeah.
Horrific
The
four.
the horrific
So I'm
four.
not going to tell you all of them, but we'll find out as we continue. But I think the team that I decided to pick for number 17 was Wolves. And it's hurting me because I low key feel like Wolves is due relegation because back to back to back the last 3 4 years they've been in every single relegation battle and they've been able to come through. And although I want to put them in another relegation battle again, and they will be, but the reason why I'm not relegating them is because I have reasons for all the other teams. One of them is a bit of a shocker, but I think when I think about the whole picture, I'm not really too happy with how they're moving. Unless I could be wrong, and this other team could be 17th. But right now, I'm going with Wolves. The only reason why I'm going with Wolves for 17th to stay safe is because the manager that came in last year and saved them from being relegated is still there, and I think he knows his job and he knows his work. He's a good manager. They have a big Portuguese contingent. He's a Portuguese manager. Can work with a lot of those guys. They have a great captain and defender in Max Kilman, and they have a lot of different like players that can definitely do a job. Overall, they're kind of close to championship level. I can see them getting relegated, but I'm gonna pick them to stay. I have another team that's gonna finish 19th that I was thinking was gonna stay, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll get there. When we get there, we'll talk about it. But yeah, Wolves for 17th.
Okay, Wolves for 17th. Yeah. Toby's actually going with a good one for 17 because he's saying, yeah, with everything that's happened, we all know Wolves here in the last couple of seasons, they've been always been in a relegation battle and they've always just survived. I think the Wolves that side that I think from the beginning of the season to like January, they're just playing around. Then from March or something, they just lock in. They usually get just they always just beat at least one big side. And I think it's always just enough for them. They could go to Chelsea, or maybe Chelsea comes to their home and they just get one freak 2-1 win, or they go to Arsenal, just get a freak 2-0 win, or so. They do that thing. I think they've beaten every big side in the last couple of seasons, every top six side. And I think it's always been enough for them to stay in the Premier League. But he's saying this season, they're going to go about their normal relegation battle, but they're going to survive this season for 17. So for Anu, who's your pick for 17?
Okay, so for 17th, my pick is West Ham, and it's for three reasons really. The manager's not really working over there. The level of the recruitment has been so poor as well, from like the striker and to like a lot of like free transfers as well. And most importantly, they just lack a lot of quality in midfield, especially when it comes to their defense, right? They really don't have like a linchpin there. I know it's like supposed to be Suchek, but he's really not good enough. So unless they bring in like a high quality central midfielder, I can see West Ham possibly being in the championship next year.
Yeah, that's actually funny enough. Anu, now we're going for the same pick again. My pick for 17th as well is West Ham as well. I feel just like this isn't actually West Ham actually going to see. I think they're going to have it as rough as any side that has had it before in the Premier League has experienced because this season is not going to be. It's not going to be. This season is going to be a very long one for them. That's what I'll just say. It's going to be a very, very long one. Uh, Potter came in last season, took over from Lopetegui, and he's had a hard time implementing his ideas. And I think he's taken that into this season as well. West Ham, I say that if they stay in the Premier League, it's by God's grace. That's what I'll just say. Because left to me, I'll probably put them as relegated. I'll probably put them as relegated. And me just leaving them in the Premier League is down to I want to see because I feel Potter was a good manager. I would say good. Maybe he was kind of above average a bit. He was kind of above average when he was at Brighton, and I think him being at West Ham he should be able to keep them in the Premier League. Brighton, he had them pulling above their weight. He had them getting like top 10 finishes then. And I say he's not the best manager you want to say, okay, should go to like a big side or anything. But I think we're a side that's in a relegation battle, or let's say a lower half side like West Ham are. I feel Potter should be able to get them to stay in the Premier League. That is only the reason why I'm picking them at 17. Because on another day, I'll probably put them as 18th or 19th. Because West Ham are saying they're actually very, very bad from their attack to their defense, down to the keeper and everything. They are so bad. It's not even. Anu, go for it. What do you want to say?
Yeah, so for Potter, I feel like the problem for him is like he's great in a club where he has like very low expectations, right? But immediately they place like certain standards on him, I feel like he tends to crumble. So I feel like that's like the problem with like West Ham, excuse me, is they have like certain standards, or at least the fans do at the very least, right?
Yeah.
So and they have like a lot of expectation to at least finish on like the top eight and to play soccer like a certain way as well. And I feel like he's really not hitting any of those marks. So
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, and I will even like, because I think he is more of a kind of person like he hates well, I won't say a challenge, but just puts in an expectation on him actually just puts him in a hot seat, and that tells a lot, on the kind of manager that he is, because I say West Ham won the Conference League like 2 years ago, and they came into the season after. Moyes got them like 13th or 14th, and all the fans were like, Moyes out. This is not West Ham. And West Ham are meant to be like a top half side. West Ham should be like 6th or 7th. Okay, yeah, they got rid of him and they brought in Lupetugi to come in. Lupetugi came in and wow, that was even like 3-4. They came down to like 15, 14. They started hovering around that side. There was then they they sacked him and now brought in Potter. And I say like, whoa, last season as well, it was by a miracle that they were even able to have like a top 15 finish towards the end of the season. Now this season has started, they didn't really go into the market to like bring in anyone per se, and the standards are still on the floor. I now you now look at it and be like, yeah, is it because West Ham actually they have so much expectations for themselves every season? I think since they tasted that Conference League, they see themselves bigger than what they actually are, and it's affected them. Yeah, go for it, Anu.
no, yeah, like 100%. And I feel like before like the Conference League, they were like the Bobby Moore team, right? So it's like, guys, look, I know like we want to be big, but at the same time, we're not really big, are we?
That's exactly what it is, because I think it happens to a lot of Premier League sides. It's the same thing that happened to Newcastle. You look at Newcastle, like they won the League Cup, they got to Champions League twice, and they're like, why does this boy want to leave? Why is he stuck trying to leave? Like, bro, we're giving you everything you should want. And sometimes I think that's why we always talk about that food chain. It's usually food chain, but leave that one aside. The thing is, normally with West Ham now, they actually think they're bigger than what they are, and the kind of expectations they've set is actually kind of affected Potter as himself. Just like you said, Potter is the kind of person that when there's a kind of expectation on his head or when he has to deliver, he starts to falter. At Brighton, I remember Brighton were doing so well that period with Potter because no one even cared about Brighton. Like Brighton were just a team that no one even used to even think about, and all of a sudden, Brighton were always just beating teams and they were actually playing good football and no one actually cared about them. And that just happened. Then Potter made the move to Chelsea and his whole career and everything has been like so bad. And it's the same thing now as he is at West Ham now. You're just looking at it now that he's taking a side to another, he's trying to take this side into relegation. But just like I'm looking at Potter, I feel Potter, he's a Premier League level coach. I don't think he's a Championship level coach. So I feel that alone should be able to like have something to say. I don't know how it's going to happen. Like I'll tell. Yeah, go for it. What do you want to say?
It's so funny because he's the perfect pick for Brentford.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, he is. He is. Yeah, I'm saying, if you're looking at anyone to have replaced here, it's definitely him. Even when West Ham were looking for a coach, when West Ham got him, I was like, yeah, because Potter normally he's Premier League level. Don't get it twisted. There's some managers you say, okay, yes, they should be able to do well with a Premier League side, and Potter is one of them. So him doing this at West Ham, yeah. What do you want to say, Toby? Go for it.
Nah, he's just a hipster coach. That was basically all it is. He needs to be with a hipster team. That's all. That was
uh,
it.
uh, you, hipster coach, yeah, hipster coach is one way you could say it, yeah, but why I only say he's not really a hipster coach is because I remember at Brighton, a lot of the times they were performing well was all down to the fact that he was able to work well without them signing anyone. They weren't really making any signings then, and Potter was actually putting above their weights. That's what I'll just look at. Normally, I look at a hipster coach as someone that okay, yes, the person is just trying to do. Is what I was always thinking, and that was what company was. But yeah, company has actually proved me wrong when company was at Burnley. I always used to see him as a hipster coach that yeah, he's got trying to do this tiki taka with this side like bro. But Potter, like I'm saying, Potter on his own, I feel yeah, irrespective of what you could say as a hipster coach, I still feel he's Premier League level. Like I don't see Potter is Premier League level. It's better than all the Championship managers you want to call. It's better than all of them. It's Premier League level. So I feel that alone should work. But like we said, we all have our picks. We don't know what's gonna happen. What do you want to say? Go for it.
No, yeah. He's probably gonna get sacked, and his next job will probably be outside of the Premier League, though. So, I'm thinking maybe Spain or something like that.
Nah, he's not gonna do a Gary Neville. It's too scary.
No.
Nah, the reason why
I
I
don't
say
think he does it.
I'm pretty sure I have. I'm gonna wait till I get to my pick for when West Ham is because I have loads to say on Graham Potter. I understand your point when you say you don't think he's a hipster coach, but I have a reason why I think he is a hipster coach. But let me chill. Let me chill. Let me chill.
uh, okay, I knew now brought in another angle. He's trying to say like Potter could get sacked. Wow, that's actually another one. But let's just see how it goes. Because I feel if at all anything happens, Potter probably he could turn it around, but we never know. Let's just see how it is. The season is long. That's what the season is very long. So this is we're just on match day 2. We haven't even gone into like the cup competitions where we start even playing the AFL and the FA Cup and all of that. But it's long, so you never know. A team that could be the first 10 match days. Then when you get down to match day 30, they could be 7th. That's how the Premier League is for you. So you never know. But like I said, I feel Potter, like I'm just saying, but we never he could not, but yeah. So now let's move to 18 then. In 18th now is where we're talking about the teams that got in the axe, basically. So if you're 18th from here, you know that you're not going to survive the Premier League. So you know it's lights out, game over for you. So for 18th now, we're going to start with Toby. Who's your pick for 18th?
My pick for 18th would be Leeds United. The reason why I went for Leeds, I think Daniel Parker has done. He's tried because obviously this is not his first stint in English football. He was with Norwich City. They came up from the Championship into the Premier League, and they got relegated with him. And it became a thing where people were of the mindset that Daniel Parker is a Championship coach and he can't establish himself in the Premier League. After his time with Norwich, he went to work in Germany with Borussia Mönchengladbach. Not he didn't pull up any trees. Very average. Stayed there for only a year. Then came back into English football because I think that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to be in English football, and he got the opportunity at Leeds. And was able to work with Leeds and bring them up into the Premier League. So at least now he's had 2 successful teams where he's been able to promote them from the Championship to the Premier League, and I believe that's commendable. And I believe he's been able to learn from his experiences and to be able to develop Leeds to be a more consistent side. Ergo, their first game of the Premier League season against Everton, they won that game, which I think was really good because I believe were they home? Yes, they were at home for that game, and it's important to be able to get your wins when you're at home against established teams. So at least I think that Anofaka is learning, he's improving, but I don't think he's been able to improve to the level or develop a team to the level that's good, that's going to be able to break that curse. Not really the curse, but that pattern he's in. I do see Leeds getting relegated again, but if he gets relegated one more time, I think the next time he comes to the Premier League, he's going to stay in the Premier League. I don't know why I went for. I don't really have anything too obvious for me to be like, okay, this is the reason why they're getting relegated. It's just that feeling I have of Leeds. I think they're going to go do a good job. They're going to score a lot of goals. But personally, Daniel Farker has never really given me that feeling of an amazing coach. I think he's a good championship level coach. I'm not really convinced yet that he can establish them. this would be his opportunity to, shut me up and prove me wrong. But that remains to be seen. I'm gonna go Leeds for 18. Do you see that rhyme right there? That was tough. I don't know if you heard that. Let's clip that. You gotta clip that one.
Okay. So Toby's going with Leeds for 18. Our first act of the season. That was just like you were saying. You were talking about, speaking of hipster coaches. That's what Daniel Farke is basically. He's a hipster coach. No matter how you want to put it, like he's the kind of person that they try to do that tiki taka pass from this and that, bro. You're just gonna get like bits in 6-0 or 7-0, and he doesn't care. He's not changing his philosophy. They just want to keep passing and playing some beautiful football in their head or whatever that is. But I think Fark has been at Leeds before. This is not his first rodeo. He was at Leeds like 2-3 years ago, and they got relegated when no, it wasn't even at Leeds. It was at Norwich.
Yeah.
It was at Norwich. Yeah, it was at Norwich that time. I remember Norwich got relegated under him, and he was shipping in a lot of goals. I remember at the Norwich side, everyone was beating them 5 or 6, 7-0. And now yesterday, I even just saw the Arsenal giving them 5. I think it's the same kind of person that he is, basically that hipster kind of coach. So now he's at Leeds. Now we're seeing them. Leeds are going to consider a lot of goals. Even you putting them 18th is actually even mad, because for me, they're even down. But anyways, Toby's going with Leeds for 18th. Anu, who's your pick for 18th?
Yeah, same. Leeds.
Leeds.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they looked very good in like the first game of the season, and I think the manager is highly underrated as well. I think the squad that he has at Leeds is like significantly better than the squad he had at Norwich. So I think that will make a huge impact as well. And I think as long as they beat the teams that are like in that area of like the bottom mid table, they might be able to stay up, because I think they do have a better team than a West Ham do. So yeah.
Okay, so Anu is saying like Leeds are gonna get relegated, but there's a possibility that they could stay up. There's a possibility, there's a slim chance, not like he's saying to him they get relegated, but there's a possibility that they could stay up. Okay, that's actually a fine shout, but I could see that at least the three of us are in agreement that Leeds are going to get relegated this season. So there's no hope for Leeds X. And for me, my pick for 18th is Wolves. Why I went with Wolves is that I think Wolves have been flirting with this relegation thing for time. It's not today. They've been flirting with it for time, like 2-3 seasons now. They've always been in that relegation battle, and somehow, the last 2-3 games of the season, they just end up surviving. I feel this time is they've had one too many, and I think this time they're not gonna stay up again. I think this time they're gonna go down. They probably, and that's the reason I put them in 18th. I put them in 18 because I think they're going to be in that relegation battle, and they're going to be flirting around that 15th, 16th. Then, but it's going to be too much for them. And the fact that in the summer, like I said, they didn't really spend so much. I've been seeing them trying to get like Disasi. They've been talking about trying to buy some players at Chelsea, but it's not been happening. I don't know why they're not spending so much money. I look at them as like, okay, let's see what you guys are trying to do. Summer came, nothing. First day of the Premier League, they faced Man City, and I saw the tribute and everything they did for what's his name, Jota. I was like, oh yeah, what these guys have in store for us this season. And they shipped in like 4 goals, and I was thinking, is this City super good or what else is this? Then yesterday I looked at City, I'm like, okay, maybe City are not so good. It just means that Wolves are actually very shit. That's what it is. And I think this season, Wolves are they've survived a lot of time, but I think this season is where they're going to have their final stop. So for me, it's going to be 18th, and I put them 18 because I feel like it's not like they're certified relegated side, but they're going to put in a lot of fight, just like they've done in recent seasons. But it could be too much for them, and this season they probably get the axe. But my pick for 18th is Wolves. So now we're moving on to 19th. Oh yeah, Anu, go for it. What do you want to say?
Yeah, for me, the problem with Wolves is they don't really have a sporting director. I know like they've been relying on the Mendes guy for like years, but clearly I feel like the pipeline is a bit clogged now, so they might need a sporting director now.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. Because just like you say, normally Wolves, everyone knows Wolves are a Portuguese Portuguese side. If they need any player, they go to Daddy Mendes. Jogi Mendes brings in one of those Porto, Braga, Sporting boys. He say, "Come and get this one. Come and get this one." One of his boys under his agency, and he's been helping them before. But I think, yeah, the way the Premier League is moving right now, I think everyone needs. I think that's how football should be run. Most football clubs, every football club needs like you need a sporting director. Basically, you need someone that is in charge of signing players, not just like having saying that anytime you want to buy players, it's just from a certain region. You just speak to a certain sporting agent, and he's just getting you his clients in just like that. So it makes it look as if like if Mendes doesn't get if Mendes players and clients this season are not good, you're not going to do well. Basically, that's what it is. Every time with transfer window market is open, if a Mendes player is open, normally first dibs is usually at Wolves in the Premier League. You see, even I've seen so many Premier League so many Portuguese players at Wolves. What do you want to say? Go for it.
No, yeah, with the Wolves thing, the first thing that was in my mind was like the Nani thing, right? Where he like said,
I'm gonna say mass migration takes time, and I think from like a town planning point of view, it's gonna take maybe 5 to 10 years of this constant Portuguese moving of players to Wolves for the city of Wolverhampton to improve. I'm sure they have one or two Portuguese restaurants, one or two Portuguese shops.
Definitely.
It's gonna take a second, but I think they need to
bro,
continue with the same wave. I
Mhm.
think it's gonna be good for the city of Wolverhampton. Jorge Mendes definitely has to have some kind of relationship with the club. He has to have some kind of position. I don't know if his family is a council member in Wolverhampton. Something is going on that we don't know about. But I think it's good for the people of Portugal and England to have those kind of diplomatic relationships. I'm sure it helps them. But Wolves, you need to expand your reach if you want to stay longer in the Premier League. Yeah.
It's crazy
100%.
that it's crazy that they just want to just stay with a Jogi Mendes client. That's just what it is. That's literally how Wolves policy works. Jogi
Actually,
Mendes client, and that's yeah. Go. What do you want to
they
say?
broke the rule. They went with Strand Larson as the striker. So that guy ain't Portuguese. So it's something.
Yeah,
It's something.
yeah.
It's something.
but he probably speaks it now. So yeah,
Let me look up who is his
and,
agent
and,
is
and
for
come to
me.
speak of it, we remember they lost their best player. I even just remember that. I actually forgot Cunha. They lost Matthews Cunha this season to Man United. So you even look at it like they didn't even strengthen or replace him. Normally they're waiting for Jogi Mendes replacement. That's how it usually is. If it doesn't bring you, not going. What do you want to say?
yeah, and they lost the left back too, right? So they've not
Ignorant.
really replaced yes. So they've not really replaced like their best players or anything like that. So it's like
Oh yeah, they have to.
while I like the manager and he certainly proved that he is a Premier League manager from last season, he still needs like the proper tools for it, and it seems right now he really doesn't have them.
Toby, go for it. Want to say something?
No. I'm ready for the next one whenever you are.
Okay. So I can see like we've put in our picks for 18. So now we're moving down to 19 now. So 19 normally is more of like rubber stamped relegated side. Normally I don't think that 19th usually gets relegated on the last day of the Premier League. At least the least, or will I say the most you see it is at least 3 days or 2 days to the final day of the season. So 19th position we're going to start with. So Toby, who's your pick for 19 for
So
relegation?
my pick, it's weird, right? I think 18th for me was Leeds, and 18 was gonna stay Leeds. But my pick for 17 and 19 was switching between the two clubs. I think for 17, I ended up picking Wolves, and I was saying that yes, my team in 19 could be 17, my team in 17 could be 19. It's just so weird. I don't know the logic in my head, but that's just how it came out. My team for 19 is Brentford. Is your new manager Keith Andrews? Is that his name? Is that
Yeah,
Keith?
Keith
Yeah.
Andrews. Yeah, that's yeah.
So I'm not gonna hate on him. I think at the end of the day, if you give people opportunities and they step up and they do the job. Me picking them for relegation is not me hating on him. There's a lot of stuff. My major reason for Brentford getting relegated is loss of Embuemo, loss of Norgard. Visa is gonna go. Like the way it's looking to me, it's not gonna be like an Isak thing. I don't think Brentford are gonna die on the hill of trying to keep him there. I think Newcastle are more likely to die on the hill of keeping Isak there. I think they will let Visa go. Um, but Ouattara is not enough for me. When Ouattara was at Bournemouth, I liked him, but he wasn't the same guy like Semenyo. So Ouattara is good, and he did good for them. They did win yesterday in their game. I forget who they played, but they got the win. Ouattara got the goal, and I think they beat. I think it's Villa they beat actually. Brentford, if I'm not mistaken. They played Aston Villa
Yeah,
yesterday, and they
yeah,
defeated
it
them.
was.
Ouattara goal. So he has got something in him. But I think the combination of losing your captain in Norgard, losing in Wemo, Visa on the way out as well, Ouattara not being enough. They do have some good guys. Shada on the left wing is nice. Ouattara on the right wing is nice. Their striker, I think, is Igor Jesus. I don't really know too much about him, but they have a good vibe about them. I think overall, I think the inexperience from Keith Andrews in the Premier League and the squad just being where it's at that like stable level might not be enough. And I think when I consider the fact of how I expect Burnley and Sunderland to perform, I think Brentford they would be able to defeat Brentford in the game 1-1 is how I feel. So all that taken into account, it's possible for Brentford to finish in 17th. I don't expect a great season from them, but it's also just likely to finish in 19th. I think it would be sad for Brentford to leave the league. I would rather, if I had to pick teams to leave the Premier League, I would rather pick Wolves rather than Brentford. And as I'm talking about it right now, because Wolves has a history of flirting relegation, and this is probably going to be Brentford's first real tough season, you know, flirting relegation, because they've been a very stable Premier League side since they came in. When they had Tony and all those guys here, in Wemo and Visa went crazy last season. They've been very stable. So this is their first time, taking a risk. Because I think what happens to a lot of teams is that they invest to stay in the league. They get really good players that have been able to keep them in the league. They sell those players on for profit, and they now take a risk to hire people on for cheaper, take that profit, and hopefully the teams coming up aren't good enough to push them down. I think that's what happening in West Ham right now, in them not investing too much. I think that's what happening with Fulham, in them not investing too much. They're probably thinking, we're going to try and, save on spending, and we should be just good enough to be better than the teams who are going to get relegated. And I think that makes sense, but I think Brentford are taking a big risk. New manager, losing all your stars, losing your captain. I don't like all that formula. That whole formula just says to me it's a really big risk.
And
So
they
Brentford,
lost. Sorry. Yeah, I remember they lost the other guy to you guys. They lost Norgard.
Norgard. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
your captain as well. So like it's
Mm.
a law. And although they brought in Jordan Henderson to come in to be that Christian Norgard replacement, I've been kind of not been feeling Henderson since he left Liverpool. I can't really tell you where his levels are. I haven't really watched him too much since he left Liverpool, so I'm not sure what that's gonna do for him. He went to Saudi, that didn't go well. He went to Ajax, that didn't go too well as well. He's back in the Prem, so we'll have to see from Jordan Henderson. So right now, Brentford 19th, and I can also see them finishing 17th with Wolves getting relegated in their place. It's going to be very tight for me. 15th to 19th is going to be like all mixed together throughout the season for me.
Okay. So that's Toby's pick for 19. Toby's going with Brentford. We've seen Brentford do the unthinkable the last 2-3 seasons. I think they've had like at least a top 10 finish twice in that period. And but this season, I think he's saying the strain of losing not just your captain and your best players, also losing your coach as well that has kept you this long in the Premier League is going to take a distant strain on them. So he's saying yes, it's not going to be enough for them to stay in the Premier League. They're going to get relegated this season. So Toby's pick for 19th is Brentford, and yeah. So okay, let's move out to Anu. Who's your pick for 19?
My pick is Burnley. The manager has significantly improved since his last time in the Premier League. I know in terms of the defense last season, Burnley conceded only 16 goals from 46 games, so they certainly have a very good defense. And I think that's what Lagesh had said a few minutes ago. Um, in terms of the recruitment, that's been fairly good as well. I know they brought a few boys from the Blues. I know they brought in Walker from Man City as well. So I think the squad's actually fairly good. But I think just from the strength of the league, I think they just don't have enough. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I'm just going with Burnley for 19, saying the fact that even though they spent a lot this summer, they just don't have enough to stay in the Premier League this summer and this year they don't have enough to stay in the Premier League this year. And funny enough, this is the third time we're going with the same pick. So my pick for 19th as well is Burnley. And why I'm going with Burnley for 19th, even though they have a very good defense, why I feel they're going to go down is down to the fact of their manager. We were talking about Premier League level coaches, we're talking about hipster coaches, but I promise you, if you're looking for the most championship level coach, it is Scott Parker. Scott Parker is what we call a championship level manager. He has two relegation, will I say, under his CV. He's going. He's the kind of manager that they pull. If you check their stats in the championship, they're usually so high flying in the championship, and when it comes to the Premier League, whoa, poof, it just happened. He did that twice with Fulham. He got the. Okay, go for it. Go for it. What do you want to say, Toby?
What's Sheffield United's manager's name? Sheffield United.
Sheffield.
Chris Wilder.
Chris Wilder, yeah, he came back here. Chris Wilder. Oh yeah, that's another championship. Exactly. That's another. Anu, what do you want to say? Okay. Yeah, that's literally another championship league. Yeah, we're talking about Premier League level coaches. Yeah, championship level coaches exist. Another person I would even say, funny enough, is Frank Lampard. That's another championship level coach. Like, he's the most championship level coach you find. Put him in the Premier League.
Nothing wrong with that for Frank. I think that's the level for him right now.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You put these people in the Premier League and they look out of place. But when they're in the championship, you see them beating teams and you're like, whoa. And what do you want to say? Go for it.
Yeah. The one thing that really annoys me is I wish a lot of former players went abroad. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of these guys are like, they want to jump straight to like the Premier League, but you need to have like certain steps
and the experience. Yeah, that's the thing. And I think they don't even, the fact that they don't even normally, you see a lot of all these good coaches, or will I say the ones that were ex-players, they sometimes you see, when you look at their record, at some point they were managing like the B team of a certain club. At least start with that, but they always look at it like, I'm too big for that. Why would I want to do the B team of a club? They rather want to compete. They rather, after they get their B license, they just want to go straight to management, straight up. They don't even try. But you see, like, Xabi Alonso, even your coach as well, Arteta. You see, what's his name, Zidane. You call it Pep, Enrique. All these people start with like the B teams of every club of whatever, and that's how it is. They did so well. And whenever there was like a management space at their club, they probably like, okay, since this person understands the philosophy of this club, let's just put him in. But and that's literally how it worked for most of these people. Some other people had to like build their way up. They probably manage like small clubs and that kind of thing, have that thing under their belt, like the Mourinho. Then at the end of the day, the big clubs look at you and like, okay, let's get you. But most of all these English guys, like, they don't want to do that. They get the B license. They want to get, even if it's a Premier League level side, they just want to get it straight up, and it's been affected. That's why you could count the number of good English managers we have today in world football, or the ones. I think today you could say there's no English manager that's won the Premier League in terms of like English. It's never happened before. It's never happened. Toby, what do you want to say? Go for it.
I'll say that's changed, and I do agree. Like a lot of English managers, or at least ex-pro players who play in the Premier League, feeling that they should be able to get a job in the Prem. I think that's changing now. Obviously, I think they're starting to understand that, dang, this is the big leagues, and like even owners aren't even going to give you a chance anymore. They can't take that risk. They need to see some evidence. I think Frank Lampard is probably one of the better ones in terms of being an ex-player who has some experience. I think he should stay in the championship for now. I do like what Rooney's doing. Rooney's trying to work at smaller clubs and build his CV up. Although his results are not great at all, I think he's doing the right thing. I know what you're gonna say about Rooney. Let me hear you.
And go for it.
I'm pretty sure he gave up, dude.
You think no? I mean, he's taking a break. I mean, all this stuff. He's on media. He's doing a lot of media right now. Like a lot of media right now. I know this too. But I think right now he's probably taking a break and he's gonna come back. I don't think he's giving up on the manager thing. But low key, he's doing really good in media. I'm liking him in media. I'm not gonna lie.
Who are you talking about, Toby?
Rooney.
Wayne Rooney, yeah. Well, you see, the only thing I'll probably say I like about Lampard is the fact that I'll say Lampard doesn't give up. Maybe I think that's the only thing I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
He's failed and he said, I'll do again. He's failed. John Terry last month, or is it some weeks ago, said he's done. He's never going to go into management. Like he says, he's not trying. He's not trying.
Bro,
he doesn't
he
want
never
to
even
soul-
started.
He's not
Yeah, that's
ready. Yeah, he didn't start. He's not ready.
he doesn't want to do it. What's his name? Gary Neville I think he got beaten 7-1. I think he had like 2 or 3 games at Valencia, and that was it. He called it quits. He went into his pundit.
Yeah, he wasn't ready either. Like, what was
Doing
that?
that thing. Yeah, but
That's what I
that's what
like
I'm saying.
Lampard.
Irrespective of it, I give Lampard his props. Like he's failed a lot of times, but he said, nah, he's gonna try it till he gets it. And I think right now, Coventry, they are finding their feet. I think they
Yeah.
missed out on the Premier League on the semi-final of the playoffs last year. So
Very
now
close.
this season, now he's building up with them. I think he has what it takes to take them to the top side in the championship. But like we're saying, we speak a lot about Premier League level managers, championship level managers exist a lot. And just like you were also saying to add as well to the fact that the Premier League, I say the English players or English manager core, they're a big reason to that because a lot of them are not ready to like go outside this country or go outside this league and try outside. I think the only guy I feel there's this guy at Strasbourg, the manager at Strasbourg, is English.
Liam Rosenior.
Yeah, Rosen. He's
There's another
English.
guy too in League One. Something is it Henry?
Will Stell.
Will what?
Still, I think he's back in the Premier League or something.
Still.
He's in the Championship. Or so. Is
Okay.
he still there?
Yes.
Okay,
He
he's
moved to
there.
Southampton.
Okay,
Oh,
yes.
that's
Yeah,
I like that. I'm excited to see what happens with him.
That's it. Because normally, it's best to try outside. Even you, at least you get experience. I'll see how it works. But a lot of these people say, nah, if it's not in the Premier League, they're not doing it. If it's not here, they don't want it. And most of all these guys, they don't even like try and build their way up.
They don't want to graft. That's why.
Yeah, that's the
You know,
thing.
if they're comfortable here, people are going to big them up. They're going to be recognized. They're going to get their respect versus having to come into a new country, learn the language, having to earn. You have to like earn your shit. They're not ready.
Exactly. And you earn your shit is very specific. Like you need to earn it. Like you don't just get given. They're not just giving it to you like that on the plate, like that on the platter. Like you need to earn whatever thing you're trying to get, and that's literally how I see it. And that's why a lot of times when you're talking about like good managers, I promise you, if there's a country that represent that core, is Spain. Spanish managers are probably the best. Like you see the Bournemouth guy we're talking about, Iraola, like you see all of them, like these are all Spanish. See Unai Emery, like all of these people, like you find them everywhere. And the fact is because they are ready to adapt, they're ready to earn that thing. They start from you. That is exactly how it should be. It's not like you just get given to like that. But it's what it is. But yeah, say what you want to say, Toby.
What I was such a bit of a tangent. I think culturally in Spain, the way football is part of the culture and lifestyle is very different. It's very normal for people who have day jobs to have a football side job as well. Where like you have someone that works as a postman, either plays professionally for a semi-pro team, or works on the weekends to be a coach for a youth team. This is like a part of everyday life where people know that okay, people are doing football as part of their life outside of their 9 to 5. And like although that's coming up now in a lot of different cultures around the world, Spain is number one for this, and it's already culturally accepted for you to want to be in it. So that's why you now find a lot of people who are willing to even leave the 9 to 5 world and do football full time, start 20 coaching and like develop in different areas and different things, go outside. And that's why we see so many Spanish coaches in the league and all across the world. They're over there in Spain, they're in Germany, everywhere, bro. Shout out to them. But more, I think learning everybody else is learning from them, and I think that's going to change. I think the mindset of English coaches are changing. The Eddie Howe's of the world are coming. The Frank Lampards of the world are coming. And I think most professional football players, as they're retiring, are starting to realize that, listen, just because you had a good professional playing career doesn't mean you're cut out for management. So now more people are taking a step back to think about this, like, maybe me, so Campbell, shouldn't go become a professional.
Yeah, look. A lot more podcasters out there now, for sure. Yeah.
And the more the merrier.
Yeah, true. Because even when you look at him, like, which English manager do you think is going to win the Premier League at any point, or which English manager do you think is statistically up there that he could? Even the Eddie Howe we talk about, like, bro, like, oh yeah,
the only option. The only option. Yeah. The only option we have.
Yes, the only that's literally that's the only person. Nothing else, like nothing else, and it's crazy, bro. It's what it is. And when you talk about like the Premier League being the best league in the world, they attract the best players in the world. Even but when it comes to management, it doesn't work, and it's crazy. And another English manager looking at as well for my 19 pick is Scott Parker. I was just saying I picked Burnley for 19 course, but Parker is a championship level manager. He's got he's done so well. I remember the two Fulham sides he had 2019, 2021. They were so good in the championship. They got promoted to the Premier League, they got relegated twice. Like it was like going up to the Premier League, went down, they were back up again, they went down again, and it was like, wow, what are you doing? He did the same thing. He went over to Bournemouth, and I think Bournemouth saw that, oh yeah, this guy's trying to do the same thing with us, and they sacked him just before he could get them relegated. They sacked him and he stayed in the Premier League, and they've been in the Premier League since then. And you've seen Scott Parker go to a Burnley side that they set a record last season in the championship. They hit 100 points, had the record for the least goals conceded. Now he's back in the Premier League. So what are we saying about Eddie? What are we saying about Scott Parker this season? I feel, yeah, with all of that, he's going to take them back to the championship. That is my own pick. He's going to take them back to the championship. I don't think they're going to stay up in the Premier League this season. Burnley, yeah, they're a good side, but if there's any side that's going down is for this thing relegation, it's Burnley. So now, final pick for 20th for the most rubber stamped team to be relegated in the Premier League this season. When you say 20th position, I think a 20th position is usually a very, 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 very bad side. Bad side. I think the last 5 years in the Premier League, I think we've always had like one team that usually is so bad, like irrespective. This is usually a team everyone says, this is my 3 points. Save them for me. Even when a 17 plays them, is their 3 points. And I think this should be the one for everyone, because I think Toby said for him, 15 to 19 is going to be changing, but 20th should be that team that we all should feel this is rubber stamped for you, that's going to get relegated. So we're going to start with you, Toby. Who's your pick for 20th?
I'm gonna have to tell a story to get you here to my 20th pick.
Okay, go for it.
Brighton is very good in like recruitment. They do a thing where the model is like, okay, we have a style of play. We're going to recruit players, and then we're going to find a coach that matches all of this. All these ingredients together have to work together for us to succeed. So it's not just, oh, one really good coach bringing up all these players, all these really good players being able to elevate this mid coach. There's a combo of all these things to create the perfect recipe. I bought the Graham Potter juice from Brighton, and I figured that, okay, what he was doing in Brighton, while with all these players, this team that just came up from the championship, he's doing really, really well with these guys, and I thought he would be able to go to the next level. Chelsea was an amazing opportunity, and like he was started for being very good with young players. Chelsea was a young team. I don't think they had expectation because it's Chelsea Football Club. They're always going to want to win trophies, but at the same time, they were in a position where like I think the fans would have been able to understand we're going to go through growing pains, but if we're going to see something fruition in play style, we're going to stay with you till we get there. But here's the thing: at Chelsea and what I'm seeing at West Ham, I don't think Fred Graham Potter is that guy. He took a long time to pick his second job, and I thought that was kind of weird for me. The reason why is like, listen, if you lose a job, a lot of managers want to get back in there because they missed the game. I felt like he was trying to cherry pick his perfect solution so he could be able to be successful, and that in itself for me is a bit of a red flag. The reason why I see West Ham getting relegated and finishing in 20th position is because I think the mix of different things are going to cause them to finish poorly. Right now, Graham Potter is going to be sacked, in my opinion. He's going to be the first sacking of the season. We haven't done that episode predicting sackings, but this is the first sack, in my opinion, is going to be Graham Potter. And the reason why I see them sacking him is going to be a good decision because I think he needs to get out of there. But the problem is they've been building their side to change the style of football, to be a more expansive team, to be a more quote unquote tiki taka, entertaining kind of brand of style of play. Kind of, they want to play like a Tottenham kind of side, right? I get that. And they have players for that. They prepared for that. But if you're going to change your manager in Graham Potter to a relegation preventing manager with players who don't play that kind of Barclays, hoof it long, balls in the box kind of ball, they can do that with Sushek. But Sushek is 2 years past his prime. So, like, a lot of stuff with West Ham story is just not feeling well. If they don't choose to sack Graham Potter, even worse, they'll have even less points. But if they do choose to sack him, I think the manager that comes in to replace him won't be able to do a good enough job with the players that they currently have to be able to make it work. And they're not investing that much. So low key, like I feel kind of bad because I thought Graham Potter was going to be that other English manager to improve English managers as a whole. But from what I'm seeing from him, maybe he just needs time because I think there was a time too. Arteta was 20th in the league in the beginning of the season, losing with Arsenal, not being able to do well. And sometimes coaches do need time, but I think this would be like the season that's going to make or break Graham Potter's perception in the league. And he needs to do a really good job to be able to turn it around. Because losing, and I think another thing that compounds it more for me is we already have this mindset that listen, teams that come up from the championship are not that good. They are usually going to be 3 up, 3 down. People say that for the longest, and it's been 3 up, 3 down for a long time. For the fact that Sunderland came to your house, no, sorry, Sunderland was home, West Ham was away. But the Premier League is your house, West Ham. You're the Premier League team here. And Sunderland came and smacked you up. They smacked you up, clean sheets.
Clean sheet is
Was
bad.
the problem. That was even a really big one for me. Clean sheet was a big deal for me.
It's
So
crazy.
all of those different things together, that same formula, I'm looking at all these ingredients and I'm looking at what's going to produce. It's not looking good for West Ham. I don't want to see West Ham lead the league, but I can't see how they're going to turn it around. I don't see where the goals are coming. I think Paqueta is checked out. Luckily, he beat his case and he's not going to go down for sports betting. But at the end of the day, like I think he wanted to go to City 2 years ago. That move is gone for him now. So I think mentally too, he's him as well. He's checked out. He's supposed to be their talisman. So all these things together, I mean, Jared Bourne is there as well. He might be the only one that's going to carry everything. But you're getting relegated. Jared Bourne is going to go. He's not staying. Well, maybe he'll stay. He's Mr. West Ham right now. We'll see. They always have that one really like loyal guy. But Jared Bourne has to get himself into Everton or something. That's the kind of team I see for him. But that's my pick for 20th position. It's sad for me to say for West Ham United.
Wow. So Toby's going with West Ham for 20th. That's actually very, very sad seeing the Premier League regular leave because we know West Ham have been in the Premier League for time. Like it's a long, long time they've been in the Premier League and uh, they've had like a lot. West Ham aside that you could say they're responsible for a lot of Premier League
History.
legends. Or
Yeah.
we have a lot of Premier League history as well. You could
Perez,
yeah, a lot of Tevez, even Rio Ferdinand, all of them, they've all come from West Ham and everything. So West
Barclays Heritage. Yeah.
Barclays, proper Barclays heritage. Well, he's saying this season, with everything that's been going on, the way they started the season, normally losing to a promoted side is embarrassing, but losing in such a manner like 3-0 is mad. However, like is actually mad. Losing to a Sunderland that got promoted, a team that got promoted, at least you're meant to show them that this is right. We're at the Premier League and you are the Championship level club. But he came in and they spanked them with a clean sheet, like 3-0, not one, not two or 2-1, but 3-0. That goes a long way. And the fact that also they lost one of their best players, Kudos, they haven't replaced him. With the fact that even Paqueta, he's saying Paqueta has checked out this season because he missed his chance to go to City. He was so close to going to City. Then the whole betting thing happened, and everything has derailed their season, and everything derailed. And the way they look this season, with the way the manager is going, he's saying for him, West Ham 20th, rubber stamped, except some divine thing happens this season. But for Toby, West Ham at 20th. For Anu, who's your pick for 20th?
Yeah. So for the bottom of the table, I am gonna go with Wolves. The manager is good, but the squad is poor. The Mendes boost has expired clearly, so I think finally time for some championship time.
Okay. So Anu's going with Wolves for 20. That's actually another Premier League regular that is getting checked out. I don't know why all my boys are putting Premier League teams out back to Championship, but it's crazy. Wolves saying he's saying with Wolves they've always been a side reliant on Jorge Mendes clients always for time, but he's saying this season that thing is going to expire. It's not going to work for them this season, but let's see how it goes. Toby, what do you want to say? Go for it.
I think the reason why a lot of us are doing this thing with championship sides coming up and with Premier League sides going down. For one thing, I'm sure everyone's tired of the 3 up, 3 down. We do want to see some chaos in the league. We do want to see some teams change. And really, I think the main reason is because the championship sides didn't come to play. They are investing. They aren't forcing tiki taka pass out of the back. They are going back to a more traditional playing it long, balls in the box, trying to get goals. And like I'm seeing all the stuff that I want to see from teams that want to stay in the league and know their level. We're not going to pretend to be City and try to be what we're not. That doesn't work. because everybody's going to come and eat, and everybody's going to like, oh, wow, free 3 points. Come and give me that 5-0, man. You know. So yeah, that's why I think that the teams coming up are changing the strategy, and it's good to see. It's time for that.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing. I think everyone at this point is tired of seeing the same teams come up and go down. And I think it's been like that for like 4 or 5 seasons in a row. I think the last set that stayed have actually stayed proper. I think the last set that didn't get relegated, they stayed and became like Premier
I think
League
that's
regulars. I
Brentford
think,
Brighton. Brentford Brighton's
yeah,
era. I can't
not
even.
yeah, Nottingham Forest as well. I remember at the time
Yeah,
Nottingham
Forest.
came up,
Forest was probably the most
yeah,
recent one.
them actually they went hard in the transfer window. They spent so much the transfer market. They spent over 100. I remember that time changing the entire 11 and everything. But yeah, they stayed. He paid off because I think the season after or at the 2 seasons after they now became they pushed for top four and everything. But yeah, it happens. So for me, my final pick for 28, that's Robert Stamps, that is going down regardless of anything that happens, is Leeds. And why I would say Leeds is because of their hipster coach, Daniel Fark. No matter how you want to put it, I remember the last time he was in this league, he was with Norwich. Norwich had I think Norwich in recent years have been the side I think that has shipped in the most goals. You could tell, you could count. I don't think any side in the Premier League in the last 5 or 10 years had considered that much. I think everyone, you could tell, everyone had a lick. You could beat Norwich 6-0, 7-0, 6-5, 7, whatever. And I remember there was even a game Chelsea beat them 7. A lot of teams had that with Norwich. And I think Daniel Fark hasn't changed. I saw them yesterday against Arsenal. I'm like, what are you doing? He does that thing where he comes in and he tries to do that. They are playing out from the back and they're just trying to play some beautiful football kind of thing. And bro, yeah, beautiful football is nice. It's only nice if you're in the Premier League. Premier League, beautiful football is nice if you have a bit of physicality in it. And just sometimes you need to look at the way the game is and tell yourself that yes, I want to do this, but these players or this team is actually better than me. So you have to change your game. There's one thing I hate in life. One thing I hate about managers that are very stubborn or willing to change or adapt. If you're a manager that, regardless of anything, you're always trying to stick to your philosophy or ideas, trust me, it can only take you so far. Even Pep came to the Premier League. People say Pep was always doing this. Pep reinvented his game proper for him to even stay or for him to even win the Premier League. He reinvented it proper. But see, the thing with these hipster coaches, they say no matter what, they want to see that their XG is through the roof, plus 3.4 or something, but they got slapped 4-0. They don't give anything, they don't care about it. And I think Daniel Fark is that kind of person. Yesterday, they got spanked 5-0 by Arsenal. I promise you, the Arsenal I saw yesterday were not even in gear 3. They were just like, it was just like normal level, and you're losing 5-0 away at Arsenal. And bro, I promise you, like, Premier League is long. There are a lot of home grounds. When you get to like City or Liverpool, how's it going to be? I'm going to go for it. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, look, they lost to like a pretty top team there. So per se, they had lost like 5-0 to like a Palace. Then like, yeah, fair enough. That's like certainly huge problem. But I think if they're losing to like a top 6 team, it's not really like a big deal as long as they beat the people around them.
I hear what you're saying, but the only thing is the manner in which they lost. Because Arsenal fans will tell you that they were not even in full gear yesterday. That's what it is, basically. If it was an Arsenal side that there's a time when you see a club is actually at hit form and there's just spanking teams around there, you say, oh yeah, it was just the hammer of my team that was too much for these guys. But I promise you, the team they faced yesterday in Arsenal were not even Arsenal didn't play their best football or anything yesterday, and they were still able to come out with like a 5-0 win. And you're like, wow, if this how this guy wants to go about this season, bro, it's looking long for you. And I promise him, like, he was for me when we talk about that later in the next segment or some other show. He's probably going to be the first man that's going to get fired for me. But yeah, let's keep going with him. So for my 20th pick for this season that's going to get relegated is Leeds. I think Leeds are going to find their way back where they came from. They're not going to stay in the Premier League this season. And I think that is it. I think we've come to the end of our 13th to 20th listing predictions, and all we've all come down and agreed on teams that are going to get relegated. I think this season, amongst the three of us, we could all say there's at least one team from the championship that we all picked that's going to survive the Premier League this season. So we'll see how it goes this season. So yeah, that's done. So now we're moving up to our cup winners, and we're going to start with the FA Cup. So Toby, who's your pick for the FA Cup winner this year?
The record holders have 14 FA Cup wins. They're gonna make it number 15, and it's gonna be the
Mm.
Arsenal to do a league double. To get them to win the Premier League, we're gonna do the league double this year. Come on, you
Fair
guys.
enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Toby's going for Arsenal for the FA Cup this season. He's saying like normally they're the record holders, and he says they have just what it takes to win it this season as well as the league as well.
Record
So
number 15. Yeah, we
he's
gotta
making
extend that record. We gotta
to make
extend
it
that.
number 15. That is crazy. So it soon become the Arsenal FA Cup. Or
I would wonder how it would be, how English football would be if Man U or Liverpool had the most amount of FA Cups. I wonder how people would talk about the FA Cup. But let's just leave that there. Yeah.
okay, yeah. Anu, what do you want to say? Go for it and say your pick.
Yes, so for the cup, it needs to be Arsenal. The manager needs to win something this year. It's been close to 5, 6 years now, right?
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure it's
5 years.
5.
5 years.
Yes.
Mhm.
And it's just now, in terms of the recruitment, he really has no excuses anymore. And I think in terms of a trophy to win, this is probably the best chance. So yeah.
Yeah.
So the both of you are going with Arsenal for the FA Cup this season. That is actually mad. Well, for me, I'm not trying to sound biased or anything, but for me, for the FA Cup winners this year, I'm going with Chelsea, and I'm going to give you a reason why. I don't know, everyone's going to be like, obviously, but the reason why I'm going with Chelsea.
So wait. How the fuck do we sound biased? How do we sound biased here? Please.
No, not you. He's saying, no, not you. You know, I'm talking to him. I'm talking to him, not you. I know you don't support Premier League side, but why I'm going with Chelsea this season for the FA Cup is because I think of the traditional big six, remove Tottenham because Tottenham are allergic to winning trophies. Well, the traditional big six sides,
Yeah, the Europa champions. I have to give them that.
yeah, they are. But normally, I'm talking about when we're talking about like trophy winning. I think of the traditional big six sides in the last couple of years. I think Chelsea are the only side that haven't won the FA Cup recently. Man United have won it very recently. Man City have won it. Arsenal have won it. Liverpool have done it twice against us. We've lost a lot of FA Cup finals, and I think FA Cup is one trophy I know that's missing at least. And if there's a trophy I know that Maresca could bring this season and just like still strengthen his foothold at the club, I think it's the FA Cup, regardless of anything, even if he doesn't win. I think the FA Cup this season, Chelsea are going to go all in for it, and yeah, so my pick this year for the FA Cup is Chelsea this season. So there we're moving on to the League Cup. So for the League Cup winners, League Cup nominee, we've seen that Newcastle did the unexpected and beat Liverpool in the final a couple of months back. So we'll see if it's them or someone else. So for Toby, who's your pick for the League Cup?
This one surprises me, but I think this team is on the ascendancy. I think they want to break into the top three and even eventually basically pose a title challenge. And I'm gonna go with Chelsea Football Club as League Cup winner. It pains me to pick Chelsea, but Chelsea has been making the right moves in a lot of different positions. Like I think at the end of the day, you might say what you want about their current ownership, but they are investing in the squad for sure. They're putting the money where their mouth is, and they're investing in the squad year on year, trying to improve on positions and make the team better. And with the recent winnings in the Conference League as well as at the Club World Cup Summer Friendly Championship, I see Chelsea taking the next step and becoming League Cup winners. I don't think, Rafa, did you hear my little joke about the friendly championships this past summer, the Club World Cup? I'm not rating that trophy, bro. I'm sorry, I'm gonna hate, but yeah, League Cup winner is Chelsea. That's the best you're gonna get out of me.
Anyways, I'll only just say it's because we're the inaugural winners of the Club World Cup. In the next 20 years, you guys are not going to understand what the Club World Cup is going to mean to you. I know that's how it works. How it works normally when I remember probably when Madrid won the Champions League the first time, everyone was like, okay,
Nah.
but that's how it is. It's because it's a new competition. In the next 20 years, you guys are gonna see how important, because normally I don't think in football we've had any competition that's for club football that you have to compete every 4 years. It's only the World Cup or probably like a Euro, something, just the World Cup basically. So now they're doing the same thing as they're bringing it into club football. That's to tell you how important it is and how it's going to be held in high regards. But normally, a lot of people for the first winners normally, like they say, they're never rated until 20 years from now. 20 years from now, we look back at it and say, "Oh yeah, Chelsea won the Club World Cup that year." But we'll see how it goes, though. Anu, who's your pick for League Cup winners this year?
All right, so for the League Cup, I'm gonna go with Liverpool. And I think just because of squad depth and squad quality, they're probably the best in the league. And especially if they get Isak, then they'll be pretty hard to stop. So yeah, my pick for the League Cup are the Reds.
Fair enough. That's the what we call it. We call them the there's a thing they put now. They call them the cartel Reds, the Arsenal, Liverpool. We were in the blue cartel. Well, anyway, so he's going with Liverpool for the League Cup, and for me for League Cup this season as well, I would say it is Liverpool. Why I'm picking Liverpool now is because initially I was thinking Liverpool. I've always put them as like the winners of the Premier League this season, but I don't know, it's changing right now. But I still feel they have just enough to win something this season, and I think it's the League Cup. I don't think they go this season empty-handed. I feel they win probably something this season, and I think the League Cup should be enough for them. It should work, yeah. So you might not play, probably might not win the Premier League again, like how I thought before. Everything now has changed the way I'm looking at it. So yeah, I picked them for the League Cup winners this season. So I think we've had a long, session today talking about all of this, talking about the teams that are going to get relegated, talking about the teams that are going to stay in the Premier League. But I think it was a fun one. It was good out here, just trying out the thing. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for joining us today. If you liked it, just like this video, comment on any suggestions that you agree or disagree with us, and then subscribe and hit the bell to be notified for the next episode, where we'll be talking about our Premier League top 5 series. And well, we'll be starting our Premier League top 5 series with left winger. So our next show next week, we're going to be talking about the top 5 left wingers in the Premier League. I'm sure you guys won't want to miss that. And we'll also chip in some of our predictions for our winners in Europe, both the Champions League, the Europa League, and the Conference League as well. So stay tuned and see you next week, you guys. Have a great one, guys.